Come on, come on, come on. All right. This next talk is a very, very good find. The speaker is very, very kind, and the company is called Unwind. It's a B2B well-being, health well-being app. I've used it once. I think it's great. Please welcome Annika Serg, head of data at Unwind, to talk about how to get a seat at the table, product development informed by data.
Oh, all right. Hi, everyone. It's exciting. First talk in real life since like 3 years. So, first of all, thanks for the introduction, someone. So I will talk to you about product development informed by data. And quick check, can I see the slides here? I can follow? Like checking your phone. Can I see the slides here? Okay, cool. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So first of all, an overview so you know what to expect. So I first give you a quick heads up on the type of talk this is. Then I give you an intro about Unwind and our current data structure. Then I first tell you what product development informed by data means to us at the moment. Then dive into how we get a seat. And finally, I got some key takeaways for you. Cool. The type of talk this is. So the idea is that, or let's say what type of talk this is not. So I did not want to give you a high-level talk or future-facing, but rather like a really in-depth dive into our daily habits, like what we do on a day-to-day at Unwind to make sure we get to our primary goal, which is to be data-informed in product development. And the reason is because I leave high-level talks often really inspired, but at the end, I don't really know how they actually do it on a day-to-day. So the idea is, in the spirit of knowledge sharing, that I dive deep into our daily habits. So quick intro to Unwind and our current data structure. So Unwind, as someone already said, is a workplace mental health platform. So we work with organizations to empower their employees to proactively manage their mental health. So we offer assessments, learning and development programs, as well as like bite-sized tools such as breathing exercises or mindfulness exercises. We're currently based in London. We have a super nice office in London Bridge. If you ever want to visit us, we can take a +1. And we also expanded to New York and Sydney, where some of our commercial function sits. Cool, our current data structure. And I tell you this just to give you some context so you know what our daily habits and what environment this actually takes place. So we are currently 200 Unwinders, and we raised Series B last year. And we have a hybrid data model. That means we have a centralized data team, and each of the data team member is designated to a product development team. Similar to the talk before, so we sit under tech, so I report into the CTO, same as our VP of product and our VP of engineering. So we are essentially part of product development, but we still sort of separate them a bit. So product development, we have 8 teams, and they work in squads. That means we have 1 product manager, several software engineers, and 1 product designer. Our data team, the emojis look very funny, by the way, on this. They look better on my slides. Just saying. Oh, wow. Okay. So, sorry, this all is a bit messed up, but this is AWS, and this is Python, as you can see. So, just our tech stack so you get, again, an idea of what we work with. So we have a data engineer, we have a data scientist, we have 3 data analysts, and 1 analytics lead. That's our current structure. Cool. So before, I want to just clarify the definition so we're all aligned. What does data-informed product development mean? And this might mean something different to you than it means to us at Unwind. So essentially at Unwind, what it means for us is that data is involved in every single step of the product development lifecycle. And as you see, it's like in the discovery phase, delivery, as well as in the review phase. And they're not clear-cut categories, of course. So they overlap, we iterate quickly, but that's roughly just as a framework. So data is involved in so many different ways, or should be involved in so many different ways along the cycle. Also on a high-level perspective when it comes to defining North Star metrics, the product KPIs, or also the strategy. I don't have the time to tell you all about our daily habits when it comes to each these different parts. So I decided to focus on 4 challenges that we face at Unwind that relates to different parts of the product development lifecycle. Let's dive in to the 4 challenges. Challenge number 1. Data is not, or at least really last minute, involved in product feature changes. Also a quick heads up. These challenges might not all relate to where you are in your organization, in your maturity, in your data model, but I really hope there's at least one thing in this presentation that will be useful for you to try at home. Cool, so imagine we have Jules, a data analyst. Jules worked on a data modeling project to deliver some key metrics in a dashboard in Tableau that everyone will use, of course, and then gets informed last minute by product that there are some feature changes that actually downstream affects client reporting. What's the impact? Jules has to context switch, they have to delay their own project, and finally they might have to implement really sort of a quick fixes rather than implementing a scalable solution. So less than ideal. So what do we do at Unwind to address this? On a high level, not one thing, but really, really many different things. So we really want to increase visibility and have many, many touch points between data and product. That means, I'm going to take you through all of these now. Okay, we have a kickoff meeting. That means if we start an initiative, we have all the stakeholders involved, so we are sure from the very beginning what are some of the data dependencies. Second one, we have increased visibility on our day-to-day tools such as Jira and Slack. And to go really in the weeds, that means, for instance, in Jira, the product development team creates a label called data related that then shows up on our board in our swim lane, product development, so we see what they're currently working on. And vice versa, so we do the same if any work relates to that team. Third one, we have, and this is really key, we have regular one-to-ones with the data analyst and the designated product manager from the product team. And this is really valuable just to get some face-to-face time and just to ensure it's aligned, people, data manager, data and product managers know what they're working on. Where am I? Fourth one. So data, even though we're hybrid, the data analyst joins once a week, stand up in the product development team. The reason is just to really ease the communication and just to make them really accessible just for a quick question and also just to see on a day-to-day what they're actually working on. The fifth one. So we have a weekly data forum. Can highly recommend it. So anyone from the organization who's data savvy, data interested, joins this weekly forum. And we made it now mandatory for at least one member from each product development team to join our data forum. We discuss things like, there's something inaccurate in the tracking, or anything even BI related. And this has been also really fruitful. Finally, get yourself a delivery manager, ideally cross-functional, so they really sort of help us with aligning our teams. And as we heard in the previous talk, ideally, we also have a data product manager that could not only, for many reasons, but it would also help us in terms of alignment. Need to convince our CTO to get us budget for that. Will work. Cool. So with me, everyone? Okay. Challenge number 2, inaccurate event tracking. And maybe, yeah, you think it's super basic and you know what can go wrong, but it's really crucial to get this one right. Because it's the foundations of all of it. Like the classic one, garbage in, garbage out. So event tracking, getting it right is really important. So challenge first to dive in a bit more. So imagine Ashley, a software engineer. So Ashley delivers a new sign-up experience for our users to create a new Unwind account. They don't inform data when they add event tracking. So what's the consequence? In this example is that some events are missing, and for certain user action, we actually have multiple events firing. The overall impact, of course, more downstream is inaccurate product analytics. So a really problem. What do we do at Unwind to address this? And I think the overall goal here is really clear ownership. And I know on these pictures I have software engineer and the data analyst, but it's also the product manager to really make sure that we have event tracking in place. And I want to talk you through now how we actually do tracking. So first of all, we don't rely on human memory to involve us, but rather if Ashley develops a feature in GitHub at the end, when it's around deploying that feature, there's a checklist to say, did you include tracking? Did you inform data? That's really the last stop in that sense. If then Ashley wants to implement tracking, they would create suggest an event to us in our tracking schema, and that's owned by data. Again, dive in. So this is our new feature tracking table. It would put in an event name, properties they want to track, when this gets triggered, the Figma link, and the designated analyst from the product development team reviews this and then also approves. And really make sure that it's use case driven. This is really where the product manager comes in, because they have to tell us why they want to track this, because we don't want to track for the sake of it, but really always use case driven. Also, we make sure that the events follow our naming convention and it's independent from the UI, meaning we can actually scale it if we change a certain style in the app. Finally, documentation. I know this is maybe straightforward, but it's so important. So we document the process, and also we add it to our new hire checklist. So we have a lot of checklists for new hires. Highly recommend that. So when you onboard into Unwind, you have to go through a lot of different checkboxes. And one of these is read how we do tracking in Unwind. I was told I should walk to give a new slide intro. Challenge number 3. Product managers are not adopting self-serve analytics. Diving into this challenge and the impact. So imagine Ali, product manager. So we as a data team, we implemented and we launched Amplitude. It's a really powerful product analytics tool, which also costs 30 grand a year. So, yeah, it's expensive. It's very powerful though. But you really want to make sure people use it. So Ali, he's quite overwhelmed by Amplitude. It's a lot of features, giving it so powerful. And also is a bit afraid of breaking things. Now, what's the impact? Of course, reduced or even no data-informed decision-making, as well as that data is still a bottleneck for requests that could be self-served. So what do we do at Unwind to address this? Essentially, demo, demo, and demo. And I don't really only mean, and I don't know, it's not really the best quality. So I don't only mean like demo Amplitude as a new tool, but really demonstrate its value. And it came up in the previous talk. So this is really important to show the value of using Amplitude. So in more granularity again, when we launched Amplitude, we also had a so-called Amplitude Academy. That means we ran workshops, we put little videos together that have spent some time in our video call recording room. And the idea is that even though Amplitude has a lot of resources and a lot of videos, but we did just like these 2 or 3 video snippets just to show them with our data what you can do in Amplitude, and gave them some templates so they can quickly copy that chart and use it for their use case. Second one is, again, we document this whole onboarding, like how to onboard to Amplitude with the videos. We have essentially like a guide, and we add it to our new hire checklist. Third one is we did weekly data drop-ins, and that was super valuable. So that means we made ourselves very approachable, accessible, and we enabled product managers or someone from growth marketing that use Amplitude to just drop in without having to book anything in, and to actually like sense check charts. So they often in the early weeks they came a lot, and they were just like, oh, I have this chart. Does that make sense? And we worked with them to refine it. Fourth one is to really be rigorous in using public channels in Slack. And I think this is really not only for this particular case, but really making sure if anyone DMs you, ask them to repost this in the data channel. And we were really strict about it. And it has helped us massively to show visibility, to even to lower the barrier to ask a question, because it started that everyone was asking questions in Slack, and then we could answer them, other people saw the response to it. Finally, we sort of rejected, or we try to reject requests that come in that are self-servable. And that means the designated analyst would sit down with the product manager and be like, hey, the request you had, you can do this in Amplitude, and let me show you how to do it. And it takes time at the beginning, but in the long run, it's a really worth investment. Finally, we share data updates. This is a demonstration of it. We have, like in Slack, ideally every fortnight, we share some updates, get people excited about data, but also about Amplitude. If we have something we got from there, we link to the chart. So again, really demoing the value. A lot of these things we did went around when we launched Amplitude, and it's really worth the effort, because now the product managers really do use Amplitude on a daily basis. The final challenge, number 4, probably the most crucial one. Data provides insights that are not actioned. Diving again a bit more deep into this. So imagine Alice, a data scientist. Alice works on a data science project, like a longer term one, to predict user churn after signing up. Everyone is super excited about this. Oh, we're using machine learning at Unwind, that's so cool. Let me see, and I'm so excited for the results. Results come out, but no actions are taken by product. The impact is, apart from Alice, who will be demotivated because there's no impact that they have, but also we waste resources. So what do we do at Unwind to address this? Mainly this. No. I'm joking. We do some things that actually has helped us here. So first of all, and it's actually something that Ole mentioned to me a while back, is that before we do anything, before we take on a project that's on our data roadmap, we sit down with the product manager and we say, if we were to give you the results and the outcome today, what would you do with it? How would you action it? And this has really helped us to understand the maturity of product in the moment, the capacity they have. The next one is around really focusing the message, meaning we don't provide them sort of just with the results, but we try to actually suggest an action and help them interpret what our data results actually mean. Third one is around, really making sure you have a North Star metric defined within products, or help product to define one. Ours is a stickiness metric, which is weekly active user over monthly active user, to make sure users come back, or we want to have users come back weekly into our mental health platform to build a habit and take care of their mental health. So once you have that defined, you can also make sure that the data projects you have and the results feed into and can impact the North Star metric. Fourth one, just a quick one. If product isn't yet ready and engineering doesn't have any capacity, there's always growth marketing, where you can, if you have sort of results to personalize communication, for instance, you can use emails and push notification, almost bypass some of that. And finally, of course, the data strategy as well as the roadmap should be aligned with the product one, so that you're really sure whatever you're building, will also can be reflected in the product roadmap down the line. Cool. I'm almost done. Just the key takeaways for you. So as you've seen, it's not really just one method, but really multiple. There's a lot of things that we do on the day-to-day. Essentially, it's around building relationship and really many touch points between data and product. Because essentially, the goal is to change the mindset and support engineers and product managers to become more data savvy. And this is what we currently do. When we maybe double and we have 400 unminders, it might not scale, but it's something we currently do. And this leads me to the next key takeaway, which is to experiment what works for you. So what works for you at the moment? We did a lot of the things we realized or we are doing on a day-to-day come out of like experiments. We ran like a data analyst, ran a sprint rotation, so they had the whole sprint, every retro, daily stand-up. They were in their product development team. And it made us realize what is missing, what touch points we need. So just experiment and try what works. Cool, thank you, first of all, my team, because they... because my team brings all these great ideas and suggestions, and also really open to try new things. So thank you. And yeah, thank you all for listening. So any questions? Yes?
That work. And the question is rather minor. You have mentioned, for instance,
okay, I can
right, that you're inviting the PMs to join, right? And saying that at least one PM that react, participate in part of it. The question is, can you have 8 PMs? Imagine it can happen they're joining a month. How do you ensure back on this high quality affects their decisions?
Should I repeat the question? Okay, so the question is around if we have someone in our weekly data forums from product management, how do we ensure that this actually has impact and it's still useful? Is that correct? Yeah. So just to clarify, we have a member from each product development team. So we sometimes have engineers, sometimes we have product managers in the teams. Essentially, one way we verify this is we do have sort of like, we do run tiny retros of this data form as well to ensure like, does it actually provide value? And the other bit is really, to be honest, it's hard to answer because we do sort of verify almost informally when we talk to the product managers and we look at what topics do we discuss. And we kind of almost see anecdotally of like, oh, I didn't even know you're working on this, or it's like, oh, this is actually really important for us to ensure reporting doesn't break. So in that sense, so we kind of validate this almost like informally.
Your team setup. So you have one data team. How is this structured within the company? So is structured below product or how?
Yeah, so it's structured within tech. So our data team sits in tech, and we do actually have also joint fortnightly product development meetings where data is involved as well as product design engineering. So I lead the data team and I report into our CTO, same as the VP of product and the VP of engineering.
Many of the key learnings you shared was that you brought the data team closer to the product people. I'm just wondering, it's like closer to product, but why not just have a data person within the squad? A person gets squads.
It's a good question. So just to repeat, why don't we have embedded analysts essentially in the product development teams? First of all, because we're not yet at a mature level in product development where a data analyst would add value if they are completely in the sprint. And we act like completely embedded in the team. And we realized this when we did the sprint rotation. There was a lot of time they spent, like, it's actually not that useful for us. They're not yet experimenting on an everyday base and iterating and things like that. So I think as we grow, we might move to like a maybe hub and spoke model where we still have a centralized team, because it's very important, I think, for staying aligned and making sure that we adhere to best practices, but then have embedded analysts in each team. Sorry, was one question? Who was first? Sorry, just saying.
Thank you so much for the question. For product event from different teams, apart from product, are there any other teams ask for event tracking, their purposes, and then how do you align?
Yeah, thank you. So the question was whether we also get, or any other teams apart from product development, do event tracking, and how we define ownership in that regard. So, if I'm not mistaken, can team correct me if I'm wrong, but it's mainly product development that does event tracking. We have growth marketing that do UTM tracking. So when it comes to that, essentially we take this on, like we work, it's a bit an informal process, but we put the events or anything into sort of the schema. We discuss it as a team, so it's something where we sort of take almost full ownership because there's not that many sort of implementation from their side except adding it, of course. But we do check that the link works, and we have sort of a UTM tracking schema as well that we agreed on.
Thank you.
So first of all, thank you very much. Share the slide with us. Full company probably. So how do you embed that activity require more than time in your backlog? Not always easy to conclude that activity just in the time of a sprint.
I repeat your question, and I can also verify I got this right. How do we sort of have in our data backlog, how do we incorporate sort of data projects that go beyond one sprint, right? Yeah?
One sprint.
Yeah, so I mean, from a very sort of Jira management perspective, we work with epics if we have like larger milestones. So we would have a data project as an epic, and then the different tickets that feed into it. I tell you how it should ideally work. I'm not saying that we're managing at the moment like this perfectly, but ideally when we start with an initiative from the data roadmap or like an OKR, we make sure that we have the epics and milestones defined, and then also have all the tickets that are feeding into the epic and into the milestones. We're currently working with our delivery manager to sort of improve this process and make sure we put all of the tickets into backlog, and also estimate how many tickets do we need to get into the sprint or each sprint to make sure we can deliver on the milestones as well as on the overall project. So when we have sprint planning every 2 weeks, we make sure that the tickets that we need in order to get to our primary goal are in the sprint.
Thank you, Annika. This was amazing. Cut in because you're out of time.
Yeah.
Give it up one more time for Annika. It was amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.